holding my hype, holding my hype.
She ended me to. She ended me to.
Holding my hype, holding my hype.
She ended me to. She ended me to. She ended me She ended me to.
Sometimes an earthly prince meets with a great deal of difficulty to subdue a rebel who has found means to fortify himself and has made himself strong by the numbers of his foes. But it is not so with God. is no fortress that is any defense from the power of God. Though hand join in hand, and vast multitudes of God's enemies combine and associate themselves, they are easily broken in pieces. They are as great heaps of light chaff before the whirlwind, or large quantities of dry stubble before the devouring flames. We find it easy to tread on and crush a worm that we see crawling on the earth, so it is easy for us to cut or singe a slender thread from anything that hangs. Thus easy is it for God when he pleases to cast his enemies down to hell. What are we that we should think to stand before him, at whose rebuke the earth trembles, and before whom the rocks are thrown down? They deserve to be cast into hell, so that divine justice never stands in the way. It makes no objection against God's using his power at any moment to destroy them. Yea, on the contrary, justice calls aloud for an infinite punishment of their sins. Divine justice says of the tree that brings forth such grapes of Sodom, cut it down while cumbereth it in the ground. The sword of divine justice is every moment brandished over their heads, and it is nothing but the hand of arbitrary mercy and God's mere will that holds it back. They are already under a sentence of condemnation to hell. They do not only justly deserve to be cast thither, but sentence of the law of God, that eternal and immutable rule of righteousness that God has fixed between him and mankind, is gone out against them and stands against them, so that they are bound over already to hell. He that believeth not is condemned already, so that every unconverted man properly belongs to hell. That is his place. From thence he is. Ye are from beneath, and thither he is bound. It is the place that justice and God's word and the sentence of his unchangeable law assign to us. They are now the objects of that very same anger and wrath of God that is expressed in the torments of hell. And the reason why they do not go down to hell at each moment is not because God, in whose power they are, is not very angry with them, as he is with many miserable creatures now tormented in hell, who there feel and bear the fierceness of his wrath. Yea, God is a great deal more angry with great numbers that are now on earth. Yea, doubtless with many that are now in this congregation, who it may be are at ease than he is with many of those who are now in the flames of hell. So that it is not because God is unmindful of their wickedness and does not resent it, that he does not let loose his hand to cut them off. God is not altogether such an one as themselves, though they may imagine him to be so. The wrath of God burns against them. Their damnation does not slumber. The pit is prepared. The fire is made ready. The furnace is now hot, ready to receive them. The flames do now rage and glow. The glittering sword is wet and held over them, and the pit hath opened its mouth under them.
Oh, that this wet that falls upon my face would wash the crime clear from my conscience. When I look up to heaven, I see my trespass. The earth does still cry out upon my thatch. Pay me the murder of a brother and a king, and the adulterous faults I have committed. Oh, these are sins that are unpardonable. Why say thy sins were blacker than his jet? Yet may contrition make them as white as snow. Aye, but still to persevere in a sin, it is an act against the universal power. Most wretched man, stoop, bend thee to thy prayer. Ask grace of heaven to keep thee from despair.
The night before I left town, I had a date with Evelyn. I got all worked up. She was so pretty and sweet and good. I told her straight, you better forget about me, Evelyn, for your own sake. I'm no good and never will be. I'm not worthy to wipe your shoes. I broke down, cried. Well, she just said, looking white and scared, "Why, Teddy, don't you still love me?" I said, "Love you? God, Evelyn, I love you more than anything in the world, and I always will." She said that nothing else matters, Teddy, because nothing but death could stop my loving you. So I'll wait, and when you're ready, you send for me, and we'll be married. I know I can make you happy, Teddy, and once you're happy, you won't want to do any of the bad things you've done anymore. And I said, "Of course I won't, Evelyn." I meant it too. I believed it. I loved her so much, she could make me believe anything.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by asleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.